English through listening. Motivational stories. A new life in America. David Carter had always lived in a small village in England. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other. The streets were quiet, the air was fresh, and life moved at a slow, predictable pace. He had been a school teacher for over 10 years, teaching English literature to students who often had no interest in poetry or classic novels. While he loved his job, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant for something more. As a child, David had dreamed of traveling the world. He would sit in the local library for hours, reading books about faraway places. New York cities, bright lights, the Grand Canyon's vast landscapes, and the Golden Gate Bridge stretching across the bay in San Francisco. He often imagined himself walking down the busy streets of an American city, hearing different accents, trying new foods, and living a life full of adventure. But dreams were easy. Reality was different. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day at work, David sat at his kitchen table with a cup of tea. He scrolled through job listings on his laptop, not expecting to find anything interesting. That's when he saw it. A teaching position at a prestigious school in San Francisco. They were looking for an experienced English teacher, someone who could help students improve their writing and appreciation for literature. The salary was good, and the school was offering relocation assistance. His heart pounded. Could this be the opportunity he had been waiting for? He hesitated. Moving to another country was a huge decision. What if he didn't like it? What if he struggled to fit in? But then he thought about the alternative. Staying in the same small town, living the same predictable life, always wondering, what if? After a week of thinking, he made his decision. He was going to apply. The application process was long and nerve-wracking. He had to submit his resume, write a personal statement, and go through multiple rounds of interviews over Zoom. Each step made him more anxious. He kept reminding himself that it was okay. If he didn't get the job, at least he tried. But deep down, he wanted it more than anything. Then, one morning, he received an email. "Congratulations, David. We are pleased to offer you the position of English teacher at Westwood High School in San Francisco." David stared at the screen in disbelief. He had done it. He had secured a job in America. The next few weeks were a blur. He had to pack his belongings, say goodbye to his friends and family, and prepare for a completely new life. His parents were supportive but worried. "Are you sure about this?" his mother asked. "It's such a big move." "I have to try," David replied. "I don't want to regret not taking this chance." Finally, the day arrived. He boarded a plane for the first time in his life. As he looked out of the window, watching England disappear beneath the clouds, he felt a mix of excitement and fear. His adventure had begun. San Francisco was overwhelming. The moment David stepped out of the airport, he was hit by a wave of noise. Car horns, people talking loudly, the constant hum of a big city. It was nothing like his quiet village. His new apartment was small, but comfortable, located in a lively neighborhood filled with coffee shops, bookstores, and street performers. It was different, but he liked it. The biggest challenge was the school. His students were energetic and outspoken, unlike the reserved students he was used to in England. On his first day, one student raised his hand and asked, "Are you like best friends with the Queen?" The class erupted in laughter. David smiled. "Not quite, but I did see her once at a parade." Slowly, he started to adapt. He learned to navigate the subway, found a grocery store that sold British tea, and even started enjoying American coffee. But he still felt lonely. Making friends in a new country was harder than he expected. One evening, David visited Golden Gate Park to clear his mind. As he sat on a bench, he noticed a woman taking photographs of the sunset. She had short blonde hair and a relaxed, confident posture. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she said, lowering her camera. "Yes," David replied. "I've never seen a sunset like this before. She smiled. Are you visiting? No, I just moved here. Still getting used to everything. I understand that feeling, she said. I'm Emily, by the way. They started talking. Emily was a freelance photographer who had lived in San Francisco all her life. She gave him tips about the city, where to find the best coffee, which museums to visit, and how to survive the unpredictable weather. Over the next few weeks, David and Emily became close friends. She introduced him to her group of friends, took him to local art galleries, and even convinced him to try surfing. As months passed, David felt more at home. He loved his job, had a circle of friends, and no longer felt like an outsider. One evening, he stood on the Golden Gate Bridge, looking at the city lights reflecting on the water. He thought about how scared he had been when he first arrived. Now, he couldn't imagine being anywhere else. Moving to America had been the biggest risk of his life, but it was also the best decision he had ever made. He had found adventure, friendship, and a new version of himself. Sometimes all it takes is one step into the unknown to discover where you truly belong. Story 2. The Journey to Success. Learn English through listening. Motivational stories. Liam Walker was born in a small town in Ohio, where life was slow and predictable. His parents ran a modest bakery, waking up before sunrise every day to prepare fresh bread and pastries. While Liam respected their hard work, he dreamed of something bigger. From an early age, he was fascinated by technology and how computers could change the world. He spent hours at the local library, reading about great inventors and tech entrepreneurs. But in a town where most people followed the same path, high school, a local job, and eventually settling down, Liam's dreams seemed far-fetched. Why, don't you just take over the bakery someday? His father often asked. But Liam knew that wasn't the life he wanted. After graduating high school, Liam was determined to go to college, but money was a big issue. His parents barely made enough to cover their expenses. Instead of giving up, Liam took a different approach. He applied for every scholarship he could find. After months of waiting and hoping, he received a partial scholarship to a university in California. Leaving his family behind was painful, but he knew he had to take this step. With 2 suitcases and a heart full of determination, Liam boarded a bus to California, ready to face whatever came his way. Life in California was nothing like he had imagined. The university was massive, and the competition was fierce. Everyone around him seemed smarter and more experienced. To make ends meet, he worked part-time as a waiter and spent late nights studying in the library. At times, he felt like giving up. There were days when he missed home, the warmth of his mother's kitchen, and the familiar streets of Ohio. But every time he felt discouraged, he reminded himself why he had come here, to build a better future. One day, while working at a cafe near campus, Liam overheard 2 customers discussing an upcoming hackathon. His interest piqued. He had always loved coding, but never had the confidence to compete. Summoning all his courage, he signed up. The hackathon was intense. He barely slept, working tirelessly with his team to develop a new mobile app that could help students find affordable housing. The competition was tough, but their idea stood out. When the results were announced, Liam's team had won 2nd place. That moment changed everything. One of the judges, a well-known entrepreneur, approached Liam after the event. "You have potential," he said. "Ever thought about working in a startup?" Liam couldn't believe it. A week later, he was offered an internship at a tech startup in Silicon Valley. It wasn't a high-paying job, but it was a foot in the door. At the startup, Liam worked harder than ever. He stayed late, learned from experienced developers, and took on projects beyond his role. His passion and dedication didn't go unnoticed. Within a year, he was offered a full-time position. As the company grew, so did Liam's responsibilities. He became the lead developer, working directly with investors and clients. But his ambitions didn't stop there. He wanted to create something of his own. With years of experience under his belt, Liam finally took the biggest risk of his life. He launched his own startup. It wasn't easy. There were moments of failure, financial struggles, and self-doubt. But he persisted, refining his idea and building a team that believed in his vision. After 3 years of hard work, his company developed an AI-powered educational platform that revolutionized online learning. Investors took notice, and soon his startup was valued at millions. One evening, as he stood in his San Francisco office, looking at the city skyline, he thought about how far he had come. From a small-town boy with big dreams to a successful entrepreneur. His journey had been anything but easy, but it was worth every struggle. Success, he realized, wasn't about luck. It was about perseverance, belief, and the courage to take risks. And that's the story of Liam's incredible journey. His success proves that with hard work, determination, and a little bit of courage, anything is possible. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you love stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content. What do you think about Liam's journey? Would you take a big risk to follow your dreams? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.